This video is going to be everything that you need to know about relocating to Boulder, Colorado. What's up everybody, my name is Alex Miller. I'm a real estate agent out here in Colorado. Let me help you with choosing when you're relocating out here to Colorado, whether that be because you have a job opportunity out here or just because you're sick and tired of your state and you're ready for a better life out here. Let's go ahead and jump into it. First thing you should know about Boulder is Boulder, the actual city of Boulder, is very fitness focused. So when you come to Boulder, you're gonna see a very active lifestyle. Everybody's out walking, hiking, biking, mountain climbing. It is a very active community, which is awesome. Very dog friendly with that being said too. So when you're out doing your hikes, a lot of people have dogs with them. Typically, some people are, walking their dogs off leash, very well behaved dogs. It's a very active community and everybody's very health conscious. So that goes into also when you're going out to eat. If you are vegan or have dietary restrictions, Boulder is very good about having gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan options at all their restaurants. Great food, great restaurants. Even if you don't like vegan food, give it a shot because I think it might surprise you. The other thing that you should know about Boulder is that it is a college town. So CU Boulder is one of our big campuses here in Colorado. So that's going to be more on the southwest side of Boulder. There is a few campuses and dorm rooms. So there is a younger population. It is, I think, for the most part, everybody's young and professional. There's the spot on the hill. A lot of college students go there. It's a good hangout spot. Lots of different restaurants and cool things like that. So CU's campus is beautiful. If you ever go up hiking on Flagstaff, which is a great hike up there, highly recommend it. But anyways, if you're looking out over Boulder and you see all these buildings with red tile on the roof, that's everything that's got the red tile on the roof. That's CU Boulder. Pretty large campus there and a lot of college students that are living in Boulder. Now, depending on where you live in Boulder, if you're living more north or east, you are probably going to need a car. Boulder is very walkable, so if you go down to Pearl Street or wherever you're going, 28th Street Mall, definitely walkable, definitely super easy. However, if you are on the north or east part of Boulder, you're probably going to need some sort of transportation, whether that be a bike or a car or a little scooter or something. Another thing about Boulder is there is a lot of opportunity here, a lot of tech jobs. We have Google that's based out here, a lot of great companies out here, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of business owners. So if that's something that you're looking into, a great spot to be an entrepreneur, to grow a business, there is a lot of opportunity out here in Colorado. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who are starting their own businesses and doing their own thing, which is really cool. Obviously, I love that. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so it's cool just seeing everybody and their creativeness and what everybody's doing with their lives. The next thing is weather. So the weather, we have amazing weather here most of the time. It's always sunny days. Even if we have snowy or rainy day, it's typically just a day, if not even just a few hours. We do have hailstorms out here, so during the spring, summer months, and that kind of goes for everywhere in Colorado, we do have really heavy hailstorms, so make sure that you got that car insurance and house insurance to take care of any hail damage. That is a big problem with houses and cars. You're gonna have hail damage. Sometimes the hail can get extreme. For the most part, you're going to be fine. There is some flooding here. It was a long time ago. We had a huge flood that we hadn't had rain like that for 100 years. It was pretty crazy, but for the most part, pretty mild weather. You're going to have sunny days, nice blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, which is awesome. And then the other thing too is the winds. The winds are crazy. So all that wind comes up and over the mountains, and as it comes over the mountains, it just blows like crazy. It's funny, I'm a native here to Colorado, so I'm just used to the wind. I'd never really think anything about it, but I did have a client that moved out here from Georgia and she was just blown away, no pun intended. She was blown away how much wind there was out here, which was funny because I never really noticed how gusty it is out here in Colorado. As I mentioned before, the food scene, once again, just got to touch on that again. We have farmers markets, We have all kinds of cool coffee shops, little restaurants, tea shops, all that kind of stuff. So definitely when you're, living here, you're gonna have a lot to explore and checking out all different kinds of foods and restaurants. It's awesome. So some pros and cons about living in Boulder. Boulder is one of the safest counties in the United States. Like I said earlier, we do have a younger population here, unparalleled, getting out into the outdoors, which it's just awesome out here. Everybody here is super friendly. There's a lot of outdoor sports. So, in the wintertime, when you're living here, there's Eldora, which is half an hour away. So you can be leaving your house in Boulder, drive up to Eldora and be there in a half an hour. Awesome to be able to have that, in case you have anything to do later in the day, or, just to be able to get up and go skiing or snowboarding is awesome. If you're not into skiing or snowboarding, I highly suggest that you do get into it. If that's not your cup of tea, then, grab some snowshoes, go for a hike. Like I said, in the wintertime, you're not even going to have that much snow, so there's definitely plenty of days that you can go out on a hike, even in the middle of wintertime. Also, I'm not a huge beer drinker anymore, but there is a lot of craft breweries, which are awesome. Everybody loves the beer out here. There's a lot of microbreweries and people who brew their own beer. So definitely check out some of the breweries and all the kind of different variety of beers that are out there. So let's go ahead and get into some of the cons of living in Boulder. Number one is just the housing market and the price. It is really competitive to get in here. The average price point is about $738,000. So just keep that in mind when you're coming to Boulder. If you want the Boulder lifestyle and you're looking for affordability, good options would be Westminster, Broomfield, areas like that. You're going to be 15-20 minutes outside of Boulder, really close still, but you're not going to be having to pay those hefty house fees and not as competitive. The cost of living out in Boulder is quite expensive. It's right in the 90th percentile of the United States, so it is pretty expensive, but it's pretty relative for the state of Colorado and Boulder. Things aren't a whole lot more expensive when you go to Boulder, but the cost of living out here in Colorado is quite a bit higher than some other states. So the other con too, not a huge deal, but some of the time in the winter time, when there is a lot of heavy snow, just getting around Boulder, they do a pretty good job of, making sure the streets are plowed, but there are some cases where you get a huge heavy snowstorm and there is a lot of snow that you're gonna have to drive in traffic with. Not a big deal. I would always just suggest you might as well just get some snow tires and make sure that you're good with all-wheel. If you have an all-wheel drive car, that's great. If you don't, then I would recommend just all-season tires. I drive a two-wheel front-wheel drive car with all-season tires. I do just fine. Sometimes the clearance is a little bit low, but I would definitely suggest to stay away from a rear-wheel drive car. When you come here in the wintertime, it's going to be nuts. One great thing though is that the tax rates here in Boulder are pretty low compared to the national average. Ours is at 0.61%, and the sales tax out here is 8.8. The state income tax right now is at 4.6%, which is right on par with the national average. The other thing to keep in mind when you're moving to Boulder, there is a fair amount of homeless people. There's not a whole lot of homeless people. So the other thing when moving to Boulder is that there is homeless people in Boulder. You're not going to see a whole lot of them. For the most part, the homeless people in Boulder are pretty low-key. Honestly, they probably just smoke a lot of weed and pretty harmless, I would say, compared to the homeless people like down in Denver. I definitely feel a little bit more uncomfortable with the homeless people down in Denver than I do in Boulder. Like I said, for the most part, they're typically like your, typical hippie that just is hanging out and enjoying the Colorado life. I wouldn't be too concerned with homeless people. Great hikes, obviously, like I had mentioned before. I think there's hikes for every ability level. So if you're older or have young kids and you're just looking for a nice trail, there's lots of different options. Some of my favorite trails are Mount Sanitas. Any of the Flatirons hikes are amazing. The Royal Arch is great, really cool hike up there. Bear Peak's one of the really tough ones, so if you're looking for a good challenge, Bear Peak's a really cool hike. Yesterday, my wife and I just did Green Mountain, where we drive up to the top. There's like an overlook point called Lost Gulch, I think that's what it's called. A lot of people love to go up there. Tourists locals. It's a cool hangout spot. You can just like, it's a big spot where you can just like look over the mountains. It's really cool up there. It's not a hike, it's just, you go up there, you park your car, and you can get out and have an amazing view. So if you're not into hiking, that's a great place for you to go to catch a cool view. But Green Mountain's probably, I think it's about a 5-mile hike from the West Trail. And you can also, from that trail, you can go over to Bear Peak. But great hikes, there's an app called All Trails that gives you all the details for all the different hikes in Colorado. It's a great app that we use. It tells you exactly how long the hike is, the difficulty level, all that kind of stuff. So that's a super helpful app. Another thing is just the weed shops that are out here in Colorado. So obviously weed is legal out here in Colorado, and Boulder is just one of those hot spots for the weed shops. So there's plenty to choose from if that's what you're into, and if not, don't be worried about it. I rarely ever smell weed or whatever. Occasionally you'll go on a hike or you'll be out in public. Technically, people aren't supposed to smoke it in public. It's supposed to be in their private use. But like I said, I mean, most of the time it's not a big deal. You're not smelling it everywhere. It's not everywhere, but Boulder is definitely obviously known for weed and all that kind of stuff. There is a bunch of like pipe shops and all that kind of stuff as well. There's also like this perception of people in Boulder that everybody there is a hippie and everybody loves to smoke weed and just like kind of into that woo-woo kind of stuff. And there definitely is that. There is some, kind of weird people out in Boulder, but for the most part, there's definitely, it's not the Boulder bubble like everybody talks about and, a bunch of hippies and all that kind of stuff. There definitely is that. If that's what you're into, obviously very great, but there's also a mixed diversity of people in Boulder for sure. There's the working professionals, all that kind of stuff. I feel like every time that I do go to Boulder though, I feel like there's like this slower pace of life. Obviously it's peaceful, like you're in nature. It just feels really relaxing. There's not the typical Boulder bubble that everybody talks about, but like I said, the pace of life is slower there. It's really enjoyable. It's just a really great place to be. One of our favorite places to go. We don't really go out to eat much. If you're ever down on like Pearl Street in that area, one restaurant that we love is the Yellow Deli. Make sure that you try their mate bars. Man, they're to die for, but everything on their menu is amazing. So wish I could have more restaurants to tell you about. Zolo is another restaurant in Boulder that's amazing. Like I said, I don't eat out a whole lot, so I don't have a bunch of experiences with places to eat out at, but those two are some of our favorites. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to help you out. If you're looking to move to Colorado from out of state, I'd love to help you with any other cities that you guys are curious about. If you're looking for any more information about relocating to Colorado, if you live in Colorado and you're looking to just know more about different areas, go ahead and subscribe. If you got any value out of this video, go ahead and smash that like button. If you hated this video and you thought it was terrible, go ahead and hit that thumbs down, and we'll see you on the next video. See ya.